Hi, my name is Eliza Pessereau. I'm a field specialist in horticulture with St. Louis City and County, and I'm going to talk about insectary plants. You've probably heard that there's a lot of beneficial insects and other arthropods like spiders that can benefit your agricultural production. One way that insects can do this is by pest control. So, for example, on the left here, we have a syrphid fly, which as an adult is a pollinator and eats pollen and nectar to survive. But as an immature, which you can see below the adult photo, is actually a voracious predator that eats pest insects like aphids. On the right is a green lacewing, and similar to a syrphid fly, green lacewings as adults will eat pollen, nectar, and even honeydew from aphids, but as immatures or juveniles, that's when they are eating other insects as well. So there are a couple ways that you can encourage these insects to be on your farm. One way is by actually buying boxes of the live insects themselves, but that is not necessarily the cheapest option. So another thing that you can do is plant insectary plants around your crops. So insectary plants like the sweet alyssum in this photo that's attracting a syrphid fly will provide nectar and pollen to either adult predatory insects when they are not at a life stage where they're eating other insects, or even predatory insects at any life stage that might also use pollen and nectar to supplement their diet. So what's important with insectary plants is that they have small flowers and a shallow, open floral structure, because that way you'll be attracting and providing resources for as many beneficial predator insects as possible. It's also important that if you're using insectary plants as a nectar and pollen resource, you have more than one species or variety so that you can provide consistent floral resources throughout the season for those insects. To choose insectary plants, it's important to think about what pest you're trying to control, what beneficial insects you want to attract, how much space or resources you can contribute, and if you want to do annual or perennial plants. For example, if you want to control cabbage looper, you can do some research and find that tachinid flies and parasitic wasps are who you would like to attract. And if you only have marginal land or field edges to contribute, that is fine. And maybe you're okay with either annual or perennial plants as your insectary plants. If that was your situation, then you can implement hedgerows like this, where you have permanent or semi-permanent plantings along the edge of your field that are providing supplemental habitat and food resources for those beneficial insects that are predators. If you're doing cultivation in a greenhouse, you can plant individual plants next to your crop. For example, Purdue has done some research using strawberries, using sweet alyssum as an insectary plant for strawberries, and they found that the sweet alyssum increased syrphid and wasp abundance and actually decreased aphid pressure in the greenhouse. You might be thinking this is a lot. There are some ways that you might already be benefiting these predator and parasitoid insects on your farm already. So if you're doing any companion planting to deter pests, chances are those companion plants might be attracting beneficial insects as well. Cover crops like this winter camelina here might also be providing some floral resources if they flower at a time when those predators and parasitoids are around. And then windbreaks are also going to be providing habitat and food resources. If you are interested in implementing some of these strategies, I would suggest going to University of California IPM's pest management guidelines, where they have information on the natural enemies, so those pests and predators that you might be encountering on your farm. Cersei Society, ATRA, and the Rodale Institute also have some great resources on this. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me.